come together to celebrate the values of liberty, democracy, and freedom of speech. These streets of Westminster, home to the world's oldest parliament, are ingrained with a spirit of freedom that echoes in some of the furthest corners of the globe.
Hello. There are a few places that are a more obvious target for a terror attack than Westminster. There are the crowds, there's symbolism, and today terror did strike. On Westminster Bridge, a car was used as a weapon, causing at least 3 deaths and leaving 40 people with serious injuries before driving past Big Ben and crashing into the railings of the Palace of Westminster. Then an occupant of the vehicle got out and went on to stab and kill a police officer who had just been named as Keith Palmer, who was 48. Well, there are, as always, questions about the causes of these attacks, the measures we take to prevent them, and the effectiveness of our security. We'll be discussing those through the programme, but nowhere are there more cameras, more police and passing journalists to witness an attack than in that zone. Like many, I was in the area, came out of Westminster Station at 2:45 to hear the sound of 3 or 4 gunshots. A lot of people were running away, many others were not, carrying on apparently oblivious or perplexed at what was happening. This was the scene then from my phone. Across the road of the Tube, a car has rammed the wall there, an injured person on the ground, a cyclist and others trying to help. At this stage, we had no idea there had been deaths on Westminster Bridge. Many of us were looking to see what had happened inside the grounds of Parliament. Very quickly, though, more police arrived from all directions. There was no delay there, and the effort was made very quickly to clear the public from the square. As Big Ben chimed 3 p.m, there was a strange hush over Parliament Square with just the noise of police sirens in the background and a lot of people just gazing and trying to work out what had happened. Well, John Sweeney's been piecing together the events of this afternoon.
Westminster today, terror strikes the heart of London. At around 2:40 this afternoon, a car drives onto Westminster Bridge, mounts the pavement and ploughs into people in its path. The vehicle crosses the bridge, passes Big Ben, and then slams into the railings to the left. The attacker, armed with a knife, then runs around the corner and into the main gates of the Palace of Westminster. He stabs a police officer. Eyewitnesses say that as he approached a second officer, clutching his knife, he was shot. The first people to be hit were standing on the south bank of the river by this kiosk. This Danish teenager saw the horror.
People who were just laying on the ground with blood in their face, and a man who laid on the ground on the other side of the bridge.
The south side, this side?
Yeah, the south side. It was very tough to see. I'm lost for words right now. I'm in shock.
How many bodies did you see?
4. One on the middle of the bridge, and 2 down here, and the man on the other side on the bridge.
Ismail, the driver, coming from the direction of Waterloo, thought at first that the attacker had lost control of his vehicle.
So the car started speeding up. I don't know what was the reason. So the only thing I thought was personally the light changed. So then after that, as he speeded up, there's a small shop there for the gift shop. Then the first thing he's taken 3 victims at least. Then he came to the main road, so I was thinking, as I was driving as normal, I was thinking he lost the balance or brake or something like that. Then the second one and the third one, then I had to stop in the middle of the road to point the other cars and then to stop it because there is people landing in the middle of the road.
People being hit?
Just take it as a normal and then flying people like a football. But I feel sorry for one of the gentlemen. I don't know what happened to him, but it's not something I would like to witness every day. And then he was unconscious and just laying down in the middle of the road.
Did you get a chance to see the gentleman driving the car?
No, because my attention wasn't like that. So I was digesting what's happening exactly. And then suddenly then I realized after 30 seconds, I realized this is not hit and run. Because hit and run is only one person, only one person. But taking a group of people, keep going back, then that is crime against humanity.
Our next eyewitness, Radek Sikorski, former Polish foreign minister, filmed this footage.
We heard what sounded like metal on metal, and we assumed it was a collision. But then we looked outside, and I saw one person down, then another. I whipped up my phone out of an old journalistic habit, and I saw 5 people in all down on the tarmac and on the pavement, and then I understood that it must have been deliberate.
In the chaos, a woman was reported to have fallen into the Thames. She was pulled out injured but alive. The attacker then crashed his car into the railings just beyond Big Ben, hitting, it appears, yet another innocent bystander.
My wife, friend, and I came up from the Westminster Underground. Yeah. And just as we came up, we looked across to Parliament, and there was a car crashed into the gate there. Yeah. And the police officers were running with machine guns, and there was a man down right next to the car. So, after it settled in, I said, oh, geez, I don't like what's going on. I took my wife and our friend and said, let's get behind some concrete on the Parliament office building.
Journalist Quentin Letts heard the car crash and ran to his office window overlooking Parliament Square.
We saw a thick-set man in black clothes come through the gates where people would normally drive cars into New Palace Yard. New Palace Yard is just below Big Ben. And this man had something in his hand. It looked like a stick of some sort. And he was challenged by a couple of policemen in yellow jackets, and one of the yellow-jacketed policemen fell down, and we could see the man in black moving his arm in a way that suggested he was either stabbing or striking the yellow-jacketed policeman. And one of the policemen then ran to get help, which was very, very quick to come.
And then this.
I'd say 15 yards, perhaps. 2 plainclothes guys with guns shouted at him, uttered what sounded like a warning. He ignored it, and they shot 2 or 3 times, and he fell.
Foreign Office Minister Tobias Ellwood administered the kiss of life to the dying police officer. The thing London has been dreading has finally happened, a terror attack, and this one on the very heart of our democracy. Inside the chamber, the Deputy Speaker halted proceedings.
I am now going to suspend the sitting of the House. This House is now suspended, but please wait here.
So these were the scenes in the Mother of Parliaments today. Chaos within, but murder without.